which more than likely, just to throw it out there, we're going to follow this up with a post-debate episode next week. I think anything else would be ridiculous. Hello, welcome back to the Friends of Zeus podcast. This is episode 175. This is going to be our post-debate conversation.
No, it's
Boy, was
not.
that doozy.
Oh,
What's
yes,
that?
it is. No, I'm just debating you on it.
To a degree, I think we'll talk about different things. I guess I'll start. I was disheartened by the whole thing. I know that Mike disagrees. I think Tom and I are probably a little closer to the same page. I just felt like it was more name calling and being belligerent towards each other than any actual things they're going to do. I felt like they should be looking forward and not bitching
Hmm.
about the past.
I
That's
don't
kind
think
of my
these
vibe.
guys like each other
Yeah,
on a
Well,
personal level.
I
They
think that's
just
pretty
don't
safe.
like each other.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
again, Mike, you said you saw the video. That I look back, and I know Mike disagrees with this, but I look back to the Obama and Romney, like
Oh, yeah.
how they were courteous to each other, and I'm sure they don't like each other either on any
They
level. I mean,
they probably send Christmas cards to each other, dude.
ha,
Yeah, but
They're
this is
they're the
beyond
same.
that. I mean, you got
Yeah,
one guy that's trying to lock up the other guy in
yeah.
jail, and
This isn't like about being buddy buddy.
that's to me, that's not what the debates should be about. They should be about what you're going to do.
what's
But I
hard for
mean,
it not to be about that when that's actually happening
In
in
real
real life.
time.
I
Yeah,
guess, I guess.
I mean,
I
Um,
mean,
they're not
they didn't shake
robots.
hands at the beginning. Did you notice?
Or end
Or at the end.
and they're not robots, right? I mean, if look, if
One of
someone's
them is
Biden
kind
doing
might
of
be a robot.
robotic.
he may be a robot. Yeah, but I'm just saying, not to jump in, but I'm going to jump in. All that stuff, like, oh, did he shake hands? Was he pleasant? Was he nice? I just say a big F that. Like, I don't give a shit about that at all. Like, I'm so
I
bent. Like,
really,
I just don't care. And I
that's
look back
really
at
not what I'm
Romney,
saying. That's
but
not what I'm
Romney and
saying.
Obama were both horrible. Like, and they were more like than anything. I hated Romney. I didn't vote for Romney. I didn't vote for Obama that time around. I mean, I don't, I'm not looking for a soap opera show that has like a nice third act and everything wraps up in the end and everyone's
Nor am
happy. Like,
I.
I
I
don't
don't.
care about that.
The thing is I don't care if they shit on each other, but it was so little about the politics of
One
anything.
of them shits on himself.
But it was so not about the politics. It was more just hour and a half name calling match, which I found it very frustrating.
I don't think it was
Um,
all name calling. I mean, I think, look, what I saw was both of those guys were asked questions. One of them could not answer the question to the point where anyone could understand what he was saying, and the other one answered the questions that he wanted to answer
Right.
that weren't always exactly what the question was that was
Well, they
asked. But
told him that. They said, well, you can use your time however you choose, but this is the question. So they
and
kind
that
of opened the door to like, you don't have to answer this question.
right,
You
and
can
that's
use
not
that time to
untypical.
respond some more if you want to.
That's pretty common in debates, and that's very common in politics. Like rhetorically, people, the reporter says, "What do you think about the recent events in Russia?" And they're like, "That's a very good question. Before I get to that, I want to talk about the corn prices in Iowa." I mean, they do that all the time. That's just being a politician.
Right.
But I look, I guess I'm just tired of when people are like, both of these guys are old, both of these guys are hard. I'm like, no, I saw one that was horrible. I saw one that was pretty good. I'm not great, not like, man, he's the best. But one guy did pretty good, and the other one shit the bed.
I would agree
That's
with
my
that.
review.
Yeah.
I don't. I would say pretty good is um
Well, pretty good, not excellent.
objective.
Pretty
Pretty
good.
good.
Like you could understand him, which I
And
guess is the bar nowadays.
and Zeus, I'm not trying to jump down your throat. I'm just all week since this debate, I've just been hearing how oh, the debate was so bad. They were both like this. They were both like that. And I'm like, I don't know if I didn't watch the same debate, but they both weren't like anything. Like one was coherent and the other one was not. And that's really the takeaway, you know? I mean, that's one could put a sentence together, the other one
Well,
couldn't.
I'm going to disagree with that. Although I don't like Biden, he's not going to get my vote. I'm not sure who I'm going to vote for at this point. Um, but he was clearer than I expected him to be. He did throw
Wow.
out, well, he did throw out some numbers. I mean, I'm just saying he's clearer than I expect him to be. I expect him to be a complete babbling buffoon, and he was able to hold some sentences together. And come on, Mike, don't be
No,
for
the bar is loaded. Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
his
Are you
numbers were
serious?
not good. He said
Dude,
like, I mean, you'd have to go back and fact check him, but I
he
remember
didn't even,
things like he said there's 1,000 trillionaires, stuff like that.
dude,
His numbers were not.
he
I,
didn't,
I wouldn't like bet my life on any of his numbers.
he was a
no,
train wreck,
but
man. If Trump came out and did that, I'd be like, I can't vote for Trump. Like I mean, it's at a
I
certain
agree. I
point, this isn't
agree.
about politics anymore.
Listen.
It's like
He was awful. I'm not saying that he was great or anything, but
it's alarming he's the
he was
president.
far more coherent than I thought he would be.
That
That
is
He
being
was
said,
about what I expected,
yeah.
which was incoherent.
someone had a good take on this, and it was someone who's like a podcaster or TV guy, so it's I'm sure a lot of people have heard this, but I thought it was it's I agree with this. I thought it was very thoughtful. He said after watching the debate, the conclusion I came to was uh, I would feel comfortable dropping my kid off at Mar-a-Lago to stay for a week in their care, right? I wouldn't trust dropping my cat off at the Biden house for half an hour. You know what I mean? I mean, that's kind of the way I felt. I mean, to me, I was like pissed. I'm like, we've known everyone with two eyes and who's honest knows that he's been like this since before the 2020 election. It's just gotten much, 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 much worse,
Right.
and it's going to get much worse. The idea that this guy is, and I'm borrowing that from Biden, by the way. He said the idea like 29 times during the debate,
Yeah,
but
I
the
I picked
idea
up on that too.
that this guy is our president. I mean, I was saying in the text thread, I'm like, if like 10 minutes into the debate, I texted you guys, I'm like, if we don't get invaded by the time this thing's over, I'm gonna be surprised. I mean, here's the clear thing, in all seriousness,
Well, actually, we have been invaded at the southern border,
we
if you
have been.
count that.
He is not in charge. He is not running the country. And
I
and that
can't
you so
imagine
who
how he would
is?
be.
So who is? Isn't that the
You
question in the
can't.
room that no one is answering?
He's
Who's running
basically
this country?
he's teleprompter Joe at this point, and you can't be president if all you can do is read it, and he can't even read a teleprompter. He'll say pause, which is
Yeah,
the instruction. But think about this. Okay, so if he's on a phone call with like Xi Jinping, how is he going to get through that without a teleprompter? Or what if there's like an emergency and they go to the situation room
yeah.
and everybody looks at him and says, "Okay, what do we do?"
Dude, if there was some
He
crazy thing that happened in the world, I would trust Bill Clinton on that phone. Like
Hell yeah.
if there was like Cuban Missile Crisis Part Two, I would trust Bill Clinton on that phone. I would trust Obama on that phone. I would trust Al Gore on that phone. I would probably even trust Chuck Schumer on that phone. I mean, to be honest
Mm,
with you, I would trust
well,
Trump on that phone. I would trust almost everybody. This is beyond politics. It is frightening to me
Yeah, I
that
feel
this
like I said,
guy is an imbecile. By clinical definition, he is an imbecile.
well,
And he's the leader
imbecile would it
of the
would
earth.
well, imbecile would dictate that he has clear control over his faculties. I don't think he does, so we can't really call somebody stupid when they're dementia. You know what I
But
mean?
but what am I
well, you just
but
said
this is
a
what
minute
Robert
ago that he was
heard.
spouting out some good numbers and everything.
I'm saying
Again, dude,
how can he still be
you're like,
president?
what's that? No, I
How is
don't.
he president right now?
I
On
don't
what?
want him as president, and I didn't say that he was a clear speaking fucking gem of a candidate. I'm just
Of
saying
course
that I
not.
was surprised at how coherent he was able to appear at times. He also was a babbling idiot most of the time. I'm
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
just I thought it was interesting that whatever cocktail of drugs they got him on, he was able to stand
He
up
has
there.
his moments,
Yeah,
yeah.
he had his moments, is all I'm saying. And
I
And
none
he
of them
seems
were
to
really
do
good,
better
but
if he's
he had
arguing with somebody and there's like a little bit of back and forth. He seems to do better in those short spurts like that.
all
yeah,
I know
that's
is
all I'm saying. He's not my candidate. I'm just I thought it was I don't know.
when Trump was president, we heard about the 25th Amendment being invoked every day for years. Like 25th Amendment, 25th Amendment. We need to invoke the 20, the cabinet
Well,
needs to.
that's what makes it clear that
Okay,
Biden is
and
not
no
in
one's talking
charge.
about that. No one's talking about no the media I'm talking about. I mean, I look, this is beyond politics. You guys know how I feel about the party. I'm no fan of Kamala Harris or anything like that. To a man, Kamala Harris should be the president right now, as we're talking. She should be the one sitting behind the Resolute desk because, as much as I don't like her, at least I think she has the ability to reason and I think she can talk. I think she's
Do
not
you?
intelligent, but she's not compromised mentally. And Biden is compromised mentally, and someone is pulling the strings. And I'd really like to know who that is. Is it Jill? Is it
I
Hunter?
kind
Is
of think
it the
it's
cabinet?
Jill.
I mean,
Okay,
that is
so
dangerous, man.
so
That
Who
is
was the
in
other
the
dangerous.
president
mocking
that had
in
that? Was it like
Wilson, Wilson,
Wilson?
Wilson.
what's
Okay.
that?
Woodrow Wilson's wife pretty much ran the country the last year he
Yeah,
was,
because he was incapacitated.
So one of my favorite videos from this was was Jill Biden. She's standing there showing support, and she's like, "You answered all the questions."
it's
Yeah.
horrible. It's embarrassing, man.
It really is. And then them showing him walking off the stage and Trump just sauntering off the stage and Joe, they had to walk him down 2 steps to make
Yeah,
sure he
he looked like he
How
was going to topple over.
how does the media and how do all of these Democrat talking heads and these Democrats in Congress who for weeks leading up to the debate I had to hear about, oh man, if you've ever been in the room alone with Biden, this guy is the sharpest tack in the thing. Like he is so good, man. I mean, he is running shit. Like you don't see him behind closed doors
Right.
like we do.
So
Like
only
all
behind
this
closed
crap,
doors
all this
somehow.
gaslighting going on for months, years. They've been gaslighting us, and here on this show, and other people with brains and eyeballs have been like, "This is this is bullshit. This is
Right.
bullshit." And now the cat's out of the bag. They can't hide it. And like, what are the consequences? That's what I would love some consequences in for all this stuff that's been going on because there's none. There's been
well,
none.
so let's move on to for me a brighter subject.
Yeah,
Um, we all listened to the RFK response. Don't you dare put that in anything, Mike.
I don't
Uh,
know.
uh, to the RFK's response to the questions, and for me, I do realize that he had a little bit of time to, but that kind of would have been the case anyway. He would have listened to them, and then he would have gotten to
I
respond.
thought that was as good as you could
Yeah,
expect
that's it.
the way they
Yeah.
did it.
And by the way, I just want to take a little credit. I was saying he should do this far
Yeah.
before it was announced, was I not?
No, I you said something about it and then they announced it like within 48 hours.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. But I really like how he presented himself. He was I thought he was better at answering the questions that were presented than
Yeah.
either of them
He
really.
did well.
He
Did you
did very
listen
well.
closely? Because he was skipping a lot of the question. He kept going back and responding to what Trump and Biden were talking about. I noticed he skipped a lot of the topics as well. And
Well,
Stossel even pointed that out. Stossel was like, "Okay, now we got three candidates that
I
didn't answer
thought
the
I
question."
and I thought that that gave it some legitimacy. Is that even his guy that was playing
Yeah, but
moderator
I
was
wouldn't
like,
say he was like far and above the other two, especially Trump.
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, he's earnest. RFK is an earnest, serious person. He is a serious person. And that came across right out of the gate. And you look at someone like RFK, and this is a man who is the son of Robert Kennedy,
the
who was
nephew of John.
Yeah.
running for president. Again,
Mhm.
I just like to bring this up, not that I'm trying to make a dig, but no one ever talks about it, by a Palestinian gentleman named
It's a
Sirhan
valid
Sirhan.
dig. Yeah.
So, it'd be due to a lot of issues around Israel, which no one ever wants to talk about. Anyway, my point is his uncle was assassinated. It was president of the United States. His family has, although you say what you want about the Kennedys, they've given blood, they've given a lot of stuff to this country. His entire living family, right? All of his blood relatives, his cousins, his sister, Caroline, all these other people, totally denounced him, totally just cut him off. Like this was months ago when he started
Oh,
running.
did
Like
So he was
they've
cousin.
come
Was
out
he?
against him. They have all of the Kennedys have endorsed Biden. So this guy is so serious that he is basically cut off from his own family. His wife, Cheryl Hines, who was Larry David's wife on Curb Your Enthusiasm, she's endured horrible stuff from people in her industry. She's not getting any jobs. People say the worst things about her. So this guy is, and this guy's been attacked by Biden officially, like similar to Trump. The media has made a joke of RFK. The Democrat Party did not allow a primary. He was a
It's really
Democrat.
sad.
Everyone
It's
forgets that. He was a Democrat. I mean, as a human being, as an American, this election, shouldn't it be Trump versus RFK Jr.?
you
I mean, that's, but
didn't
the
yeah.
close the
Democrat,
loop. Mike, you were trying to get to a point about the
oh,
assassinations.
oh yeah. So this man has, I guess what I'm saying is he is a serious person. He believes in this stuff so much that he's going against his family. He's doing something that his father was murdered doing without Secret Service protection.
Right. That's an
And
important thing to bring up is that Biden refused him. And has that ever happened in the past?
no, well,
And
it
For
what I'm
once it
anybody
talking
at
about
this
started,
is
level.
since I
you know,
didn't say it clearly for our audience, if you don't know, RFK was refused a what do you call it a Secret Service
detail.
detail, and he even went. I saw a video and we can question sincerity, but he was like, it's not even me I'm worried about. It's my family that is put in danger because of this. And, of course, after the fact, you can say anything. But I'm sure that there was some sincerity to that. And of course, he doesn't want to get shot. I mean, that's a
And
hell of a legacy to carry on, right?
I'm just saying this guy is it's similar to when I look at someone like Trump, and again, people laugh about this, but he doesn't need this. If RFK wasn't running for office right now,
He'd still
he
be
he
cushy with his
he
family.
he'd be cushy with his family. He's probably got plenty of money. He's in good shape. He takes care of himself. He's got a beautiful wife. He could be doing anything he wants. He could be traveling the world. Trump doesn't have to do this stuff. Trump is a very wealthy guy. Whatever. He doesn't need all this crap. I mean, do you think he wants to like possibly be going to jail and all that stuff? And then you look at someone
Well,
like Biden. If Biden's not doing this, what is Biden? Biden is a shell. He's been a politician hack in DC in the bureaucracy for 50 plus years. If he's not doing this, he is nothing. That's all he is. He's an empty suit, you
well,
know?
I mean, well, he'd still have that vice president status. He'd be walking the earth with a detail around him. He'd have good things,
I'm saying he's not
but
doing anything.
no, I
He's
agree.
not helping humanity by any stretch of the
I'm sure you
imagination.
once you've been in that office as president or vice president, your life is pretty cushy for the rest of your life. Maybe not as cushy as when you were, but you're doing, speeches and making,
His
buttloads of cash for just
his
showing up
real
somewhere.
income, he makes like 140,000 a year, up 200,000 a year as president. His real income comes from the influence he sells as the president. If he
Yeah.
doesn't have that title as president, he's crap. He's running a lemonade stand,
Now
right?
the one thing I did like that Trump said, and I thought it was probably the most well-crafted answer he had was when he goes, "Yeah, when Zelensky comes here, he leaves with $60 billion or something." It was something along those lines, and I was like, "Damn, he nailed you there."
There's a ring of truth to that.
Hell yeah,
It
there
does
is.
keep it's like an ATM machine.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we could feed a few homeless with that.
And
Maybe.
to be honest with you, I thought it was fascinating, and I've heard RFK talk about this before. Hey, Desiree,
There's
Hey,
a
Des.
ray.
but when RFK was going into and illuminating for a lot of people that probably don't know the all of the interactions back and forth with between NATO, Ukraine, Putin, like how this stuff developed, Ukraine's recent political history within the last 15 years, stuff that we got into during our three Ukraine episodes when the war after the war started. A lot of people don't even talk about that stuff. This is not cowboys and Indians. It's not black and white. There's a lot of minutia, a lot of stuff going on. Wars are meant to be won. They're not meant to drag on forever. And that's RFK Jr.'s point. He's like, why is it that since World War II, we seem to want to allow wars to just dribble on forever? Like,
because it's money for big companies, plain and simple.
I'm
War
just saying
war is profitable.
and
Done.
he's the only one talking about that.
I
So I
like I
welcome
said,
him to the table for that at least.
I like I said, I'm probably I'm torn on whether to vote for him because that's where my heart is, or vote for Trump to ensure that Biden doesn't get there. I'm really,
Is and I don't know, and I'm not sure if you know, is RFK on the ballot in Virginia? I
No,
don't even know. I don't know what
he's
states.
only on the ballot in six
Six
states.
states.
what?
Virginia is not one of them.
I'm
Jesus,
gonna look that up.
right
We should
in.
we should get
Yeah, I guess you could always do it right in, can't you?
yeah, we should get Desiree's take on the debate.
Yeah,
Wait,
Des, did you
what
watch him?
what debate? Which one?
Exactly.
Zeus
I'm
was
just
debating a
kidding.
chimpanzee. So what's your take on it?
Um, I honestly only watched like maybe a little over half of it before I kind of just I had other stuff I was doing. So um I mean, I don't really know what I think of it. I mean, I thought it was funny in the beginning when you would watch them and you could definitely see like their mouths moving and stuff when they muted their mics and that.
Mhm.
But then, I mean, did I really get anything out of it? Nothing spectacular. I mean,
That's what I
some,
was saying.
Yeah,
That's all I was saying, Mike, is I was
I
unimpressed.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. Yeah,
I
it's
mean, I
not
thought
like
there were a lot less like digs than I expected.
Oh, that picked up.
Did it pick up towards the end? Damn.
Yeah, by the end, there was a little quarrel about who was the better golfer and
which
who
was
was the worst
hilarious and
president of
And
all
sad.
then
time.
yeah, and then Biden was like, or Trump was like, "You owe me an apology." He was like, I'm not going to apologize. Get off my lawn. It was really pretty sad. But again, back to RFK. Uh, I mean, really, sure. All he had to do was be more civil, and he was gonna walk away from that looking well. But I think he did a little more than that. I think he did answer the questions better. With he was addressing the issues, and again, like Tom said, there was a couple times where the moderator was like, "And now we have a third guy that didn't answer any questions," but that's fine.
Oh, Stossel? I thought Stossel was great, man.
Yeah.
That guy is, man.
Yeah.
He was taking it a little seriously. I thought he could have
Yeah,
loosened up a little bit.
yeah, he could have loosened up.
Well, I think it probably did well for RFK for him to be more serious to keep the tone.
Yeah,
You know what I
that it
mean?
wasn't a joke. Yeah, that it
Right,
was a
right.
serious.
I
And
thought
I
that was
look, I appreciated all whoever RFK Stossel, whoever put that together. I appreciate it because again, if you look at a presidential race, not necessarily a debate, but a presidential race, especially a primary, it is about sound bites and all that other stuff. But it's also about ideas and people bringing up different ideas. And most of what RFK talks about, Trump and Biden didn't talk about.
right.
So he brings other things to the table that are very important and deserve to be considered and eliminated. I'm not saying
He
I
was
agree with them, but
he was very, what's the word? Professorial, like a
mhm,
professor.
yeah,
You'd ask him a question and he's like, "Well, let me give you the whole history on that."
yeah, yeah,
And then he would start telling you I was like, "Dude,
answer.
just get to the point."
Yeah.
That's fine. I think well, we can imagine that this is going to happen again, where he does his, simulcast.
He
Well,
might
Um,
have to, yeah.
yeah, he's not
yeah,
on the ballot in Virginia. Well, it's again,
that's so fucking
I,
ridiculous to me.
I'm not being a Debbie Downer, but and it is interesting to talk about RFK and we can talk about wishes and wants, but it's not he is not a
No.
serious contender. And it's you have to buttress it with that because it's the case. And now let's get into why he's not. I mean, again, and why is he not on the ballot in certain states? Because people haven't
Yeah.
organized and done the grassroots stuff to get
Well,
him. And the Democrat
also, he's
Party and
being
the
kind of shut out by the media. They just don't talk about him.
I think it's more that than anything else.
That's
I
on
mean,
purpose.
he was somebody that we were talking about for probably what, a couple years now, or at least a year.
and
Um,
and he's being kept off. He's being sued. Like the Democrat Party and in some cases the Republican Party, I believe that I'm not sure, but I know the Democrat Party is suing him in across many states to keep him off the ballot.
it's so
Hmm.
ridiculous.
Wow,
It's
he was born in
shameful.
Walpole, Massachusetts. Oh no, that's his
Why are they doing
headquarters.
that?
I think they're
Because
afraid.
yeah, they don't. I mean,
They don't
again,
want any competition
that
from
story's been
anybody.
around for 20 years. I mean, the Republicans and Democrats have really sealed the deal, and it's very hard to
Yeah,
run
but
on a
well,
national campaign.
but it's before that. He was a Democratic candidate, and
Right.
that's where it begins. They
It,
they are fearful of him because he has a quality about him that is likable, definitely. I think I've seen a couple polls where they say who's the most likable, and I think he usually wins that hand over fist. Now, of course, polls are what they are. So
I
again,
thought he flip-flopped on a couple things because I've seen interviews, like recent interviews, where he said they asked him about abortion and he would not limit it. He would say, right up to birth, 9 months. And then on that debate with Stossel, I forget what his answer was, but he limited it. He didn't say the thing about, all the way to the time of birth. So he changed his answer on that.
he did. Yeah,
that's
he's
interesting. He doesn't strike me as a guy that would want who would want limits. You know what I mean?
You don't want, you want somebody to have an abortion at 8 or 9 months?
No, I'm saying that he would have limits. I would have thought that he would be the type that would want limits, like
Oh, that,
first,
okay.
first trimester or whatever. But not all the way to the end. That shocks me a little.
the
Yeah,
thing
he
is
said that before.
just to jump in here, and again, not to talk about abortion, but just from what we were talking about the last show, and just for some clarity, and I'm not trying to present this in any sort of partisan way, but the Dobbs decision, when people are like, oh, it outlawed, it overturned Roe. I mean, it did and it didn't. Roe was already overturned in the 90s with the Casey decision, which some people may remember, because technology with being able to save these babies that are like premature and stuff has gotten so much better from the time we were born to now. And Roe set everything up in the trimester model, right? But with certain givens that like a baby could not survive after, before a certain number of weeks. But once you get into modern times, there's babies that are 24 weeks and I'm not saying it's common, and I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not
No, I
saying it
understand what
happens
you're
all the
saying.
time. But there's babies that, at like 24 weeks survive being outside of the womb. So what the Casey decision said was screw trimesters, thereby overturning Roe. We're talking about viability. Like if the baby is viable outside of the womb, then you can't abort it. Was basically, and this is a thumbnail. So when the
Yeah, no, I
Dobbs
get.
decision came down, it wasn't like overturning Wade, and all these people are like, we want to get Roe versus Wade back, and I'm like, man, that's 30 years ago. That was already, it's really Casey. But a lot of people that talk about this subject, they don't know about it, and it's the extremes that are like arguing it. I mean, it's like we did a whole episode on this. I'm like, I think most reasonable people, in my opinion, I don't know, think that abortion is definitely, I don't know, definitely, but should be available in some context. But people don't want babies being born and getting guillotined
Right.
on the operating table. So somewhere between there is
Yeah, well,
probably where it's reasonable, but no one ever wants to discuss that part of it because that's hard. It's easy to demagogue, on the both
Yeah.
ends. But anyway, that's
yeah.
just my own opinion. But
And it's real easy to talk about shit you don't know, which a
yeah,
lot of people do these days.
well, we built a whole podcast on it, man.
Yes, we did.
So,
I mean, yeah, my opinion's always been I kind of wish it would have just stayed the way it was because people were keeping people in check. You know what I mean? Which was fine for me. There is something to be said to having two sides countering each other all the time that keeps it kind of the same. Um, I don't know. Abortion is the least of my concerns right now, honestly. With
Yeah.
these elections, I'm just so worried about who's going to be there and what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think
There's a
it's a
reason they have
federal
the
issue right now,
it's
is it?
not. Yeah, it's not.
It's it's
yeah
it's like disappeared as it shouldn't even be on part of the debates anymore.
Yeah,
yeah
because it's a state issue now.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. So what about all the other stuff that's been happening this week? I mean, it is definitely, um, it is surreal. I mean, it really is seeing the news and how things are being couched and reported, and it's like the truth just doesn't seem to matter anymore. It's all like how it's couched or how it's phrased or how it's spun or all this stuff, and it's so clear. Like we were saying before the show, I think it was before the show, maybe it was after the show started, but all these people are like, wait a minute, whoa, 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 whoa. Are you saying that Joe Biden is not like the sharpest person in the world right now? I am amazed. I watched that debate. I had no idea. Like, who is saying that? No one's saying that.
I
A lot of people.
Everyone knew that this was
CNN,
happening.
MSNBC, they're shocked all of a sudden.
yeah,
Any
I'm
They're
actually
acting
a
like that.
little I'm
that's
actually a little pleased at how quickly these people are starting to go, okay, yeah, we can't have Biden.
What instances was it that you think that made everyone be like, "What the fuck are you talking about, Joe?" I
At
mean,
oh,
one
during the
part,
debate?
yeah,
He
at
yeah,
about
said
the
we
10-minute
we
mark.
killed Medicaid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We beat Medicaid or
Well, he just
Medicare.
kind of stopped and he couldn't say any, like 10
Wait, let me see
seconds
if I
went
can.
by. He didn't say a word. And then he just blurted out, what did he say? We killed Medicare.
All right, or like this.
Oh, no, he said, we beat Medicare.
Yeah, mouth
And Trump
open.
was
what
like,
does
yeah,
that
we
even
beat it to
mean?
death.
Yeah, no one knows. No one
Yeah,
knows what
I
that
don't know, but
means.
it doesn't mean anything.
Well, then there was one part where he was talking about it was the during the abortion part, and he was like,
Yeah.
so, I
He
can't
said
even
Roe
remember
v.
what he
Wade
said.
has
He's
trimesters.
like, yeah, they said
Oh
it's a
yeah.
trimester model, and
And
like
he
the first
totally
one was
messed that
like
up.
between a woman
And a doctor.
and a doctor, and then the second time
That didn't make any
it should
sense.
be a woman
In the
and
second
science,
trimester, you go to McDonald's
and
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 it's
then
like
these little
what?
black children, they come up and
And
touch the
then
hair on
and
my
then it
legs.
goes. Then the third one should be like between a woman and a doctor. I'm like, what the fuck did you just say? Like, what
he
are you? What? Elaborate, Joe.
He
I'm
doesn't know.
I
confused.
gotta
What
I
are you
gotta
talking
tell you,
about?
I
he
gotta tell
doesn't
you,
know.
I don't think he's gonna be our candidate. I think they're gonna roll this into Newsom or something.
Yeah, that's where this is going now.
That's what
Everybody,
I
That
think's
even
gonna
like the New
happen.
York Times is saying you gotta
Newsom,
dump him.
no, no.
Well,
I'm not saying I want it. I'm saying that's probably where they're gonna go.
I told my
Newsom is
wife,
okay. Here's the thing.
yeah,
Newsom is like the Democrat version of Donald Trump. Honestly, like he's a little
Wait,
bit.
what do you mean?
He talks a little bit. Newsom.
See, I feel like that
And
is
have you
more.
seen what he's done to the state of California?
I know,
No.
man. Who would
That's
hire
not
this guy?
Trump. Trump like
Had
like
results.
Trump executes, you know.
See, I feel like that's a more appropriate analogy for RFK. I think RFK is the anti-Trump. Like goes against big business. He's just on the other side. He does a lot of the things that Trump does, but from a different perspective. I mean, that's what I get out of him. He's doing shit, like he's actually accomplishing things
Has he ever held
outside of
office?
um
Who?
it has he?
RFK. No,
RFK?
I'm asking.
Good question. I don't think so.
He's definitely I know he's what, an environmental lawyer? Is that right?
He is a lawyer.
Maybe.
I don't
Um
think he ever
I
held
don't know if he's
office.
ever done anything.
yeah, he has. He's clean.
I
He
know, but
clean.
I mean like in an official capacity. I mean, he can sue somebody and get the river clean, but I
But
mean,
that
what's he
dude,
done?
that's he's done amazing work with the rivers. Not
Nice.
just like passable, like he's done amazing work with the rivers. They're finding animals that they haven't seen for 100 years in the Hudson. And weren't we watching Seinfeld when they were jumping in the Hudson, saying how disgusting it was and how you come out with oil on you? Like he's done some real stuff. And
I
the vaccine stuff is people get all squirrely about that. I've already given my opinion on that. I think he's more pro research than anti vax, but
He's not anti-vax.
he's not. He's pro research, plain and simple. I get tired of hearing that one. I wish he wouldn't have said the brainworm thing. That one
Oh yeah,
might have. That was a little
that
Biden
one is a
moment.
worm ate part of his brain, right?
What worm ate whose brain?
RFK said
RFK.
this. He
I
had
Whose
like
think
whose
what he
something
brain?
in
meant was
his
like a
like a
parasite.
Oh, he
parasite.
had a brainworm.
mhm.
Yes.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
do. I'm looking
Did he
on
really?
this is
Yeah,
on,
he
I
talked
think it
about
was
it.
more like a parasite thing. Like,
but they killed it.
yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
like Star Trek. It wasn't like
Hmm.
Wrath of Khan.
But he had a good line. He said that he's still smarter than the other two
Yeah, which is
candidates.
awesome. No, that's great. I like one of his slogans here. I'm just looking on his campaign thing. The remedy is Kennedy. Kind of like that.
Nice.
Kennedy.
I like that.
It almost rhymes.
But here's the thing to talk about, and again, not an expert, but that never stops us. Um, the whole let's talk about, can Biden be replaced? And I've kind of looked a little bit into this. I'm still kind of looking at it. It's not the party can't just decide to do this. It At the end of the day, for this to work, Biden has to voluntarily drop out and
Yeah.
release his electors, because he ran all these primaries. These primaries are committed to him. He owns them, right? They're tied to him. They can't just go off and do what they want.
Yeah.
They've already committed to him. So
Yeah, but we're
unless
not
he
talking about
dies, unless he
we're not
drops out, or unless he dies or drops out, or they give him the 25th Amendment, he can just hold on to those electors, and that's it. There's really nothing they
yeah,
can do.
but I don't think that any of us is really thinking that would be in some official capacity that he would bow out. I think it would
Isn't
be
there like an official date that like the parties have
Correct.
to release their
Yeah.
or say like
And it's
who
all
they're
through the
candidating?
summer. Every state is different, and it is pretty much between now and September. I think the earliest states to start doing that are in like third week of July. So we're a few weeks away.
but
And then it goes through August and into September, where it's like that's locked.
well, what I was getting at is I think we all know that it wouldn't be if he voluntarily leaves, it's not voluntarily. It's
I'm telling you,
Right.
it does. That's my
It's like
no,
when you're
point I've
what
been
forced
I'm
to
making.
saying is
resign from a
behind the
job.
scenes, a lot of machinations would
But
be.
what are they going to threaten him with at this point?
I don't know.
I'm saying it
Well,
does have to.
there's got to be something because I think I've asked
25th
this
Amendment, you
question.
said it.
Well, I've asked this question before, like, what's stop? I mean, since he's already the president, because it's, he could technically come up for reelection because it would be the second term. I mean, what does the Democratic Party have to? Could they find another candidate? I
They
mean,
could have a year
and
ago.
if
Not
why can't
now,
they now? If they have not, since it's not been officially announced, I mean, why can't they now?
because his electors are already
They're
hit.
pledged
They're
to him.
pledged to him.
Yeah.
When we went through all these debates around the country, and he won all these
Yeah.
primaries, that's not just for fun. He owns those. They are committed to him. Unless he releases them, or
Right.
unless he drops out, they're his. And he can be stubborn. There's no oversight. We already went through the primary process. That's why, if I was a Democrat, oh, like a person, not a politician, a lot of my friends who are Democrats or whatever still believe in the party or whatever, I'd be pissed, man. It's like, you guys, the Democrat Party has chosen their candidate the last three cycles, right? I mean, Bernie was chugging on down the lane. He could have overtaken Clinton. I mean, they were close, and they just pushed Bernie out, let Clinton take it from there. I mean, you look at, like, in the primaries that Biden was in,
Yeah.
they allowed him to pick Kamala Harris as a vice president when she didn't win one single vote in a primary. She didn't win a
But
single
I think there were
electorate.
some deals made there because he was
Yeah,
struggling. And then
Clyburn
Buttigieg
and
dropped
Clyburn.
out and got a cabinet post. And then Harris dropped out and got a vice presidency post
And then this time the Democrat Party was like, look, we're not going to have a primary. Now it's not uncommon for an incumbent
when you have an incumbent.
to not face a serious push, but there's usually a little bit. But this is the party that knows exactly what everyone in the world knows now. They knew this over a year ago. Like it's not like it just started. And someone in the party, some group of people, the cabal in the Democrat Party, were like, "This is it. We're going to go with Biden." Like they're reaping what they sowed. I mean, they shit the bed, and now this is what they
But
have.
there's got to be something. I mean, not obviously the 25th Amendment is like having to do with like death or like, resignation, but there's got to be something like, I mean, that says if you have been deemed incompetent
Well, this
for
is
whatever reason, medically incompetent, whatever, there's got to be something that
so what the
I don't know.
25th Amendment, the way the mechanization of it is that the vice president and the president's cabinet, so it's the president's cabinet that basically votes. Then they will say he is incapacitated or he is unable to serve. Some
Mhm.
flowery language. Among those people, from what I've read, the vice president has to be one of them. So they can't, it could be the entire cabinet wants to do it, but if the vice president doesn't, it doesn't move forward. So they got to have Camilla on board. Then once they invoke it, it's not done. It goes to Congress. And then the Congress in both houses has to vote two-thirds majority, which is hard these days. I don't know if they could get the two-thirds majority in the Senate. I think they could do it in the House, maybe. But you mean there's all these people that are going to put all these politicians whose bread and butter
Going to
is
sign off on it.
they're going to sign off. They're going to step up and be brave. I just don't see it happening, man. But that would be the way to do it. It would have to be like Biden falling down and like there's just no question anymore. And then they could invoke the 25th Amendment and then they could release them. But once you start getting past these dates this summer where these states are locked in, then it becomes a write-in thing. So at that point, it's like say in September, uh, Biden is catatonic and they're like, look, we got to invoke the 25th Amendment. He's still on the ballot because once that date, and it varies again between now and September, these all the states are going to start locking in their things, and every state has a different date. But once that happens, if they invoke the 25th Amendment, Camilla becomes acting president, but Biden's name's still on all the ballots. So you could get someone else in, but it'd have to be a write-in. And a word on the street is that the Democrat Party, and again, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist here, but word on the street is Democrat Party doesn't like that because it's a lot harder. If you're writing in a candidate, you have to have discrete handwriting. You're not just checking a box. And it makes it a lot
Yeah.
harder to sway, to massage those numbers with a write-in candidate because you have to have an actual signature on it. So they're in a box, man. I mean, all this conjecture of like, oh, should they stick with him or not? In my opinion, reading what I've read, he's going to be the candidate. Now, he's going to be on the ballot. Let me put it that way. He may not be talking, but his name is going to be on the ballot in the majority of states. And they could
So if
just,
so
yeah,
let's just say that happens. Okay, and Camilla becomes acting president. And if Joe Biden is wins the election, would then by default she win
yeah,
for next term?
if she's
For the
still
next
on the
term.
ticket, yeah, if she's still
I
on the
think I
ticket,
think it would be that he won, but she takes over because he's incapacitated, and then that would
correct.
mean that the Secretary of State would then be moved up to Vice President or
No, the Speaker
Yeah,
of the
how does that
House.
work? Because
Speaker of the House. That's what I meant. Sorry.
And the last time that happened was with Ford.
So it has happened.
Well,
That's
when Agnew got, Nixon resigned and Agnew was indicted and quit or went to jail, and then it went to
yeah.
Gerald Ford. But yeah, so again, all these people were so used to politicians and the bureaucracy just being able to do whatever they want. It's what they've run out of is time. If they would have done this a year ago, they could have done it. They could have done it. but the clock's running out for them to do this.
That's
I'm just saying,
interesting.
I've already been looking into this for like 3 days. I never knew any of this stuff before then. I've just been looking into it.
I think that Ford was a vice president though, because it was Agnew. Then Agnew, they got rid of Agnew, and then Ford came in as vice president,
Correct. Yes. I'm
and then
sorry.
so he didn't go from secretary,
And then he fell
To
down a lot.
president. Right.
and he fell down a lot. Yeah,
And a lot, Ford's an interesting cat, man. He didn't want any part of it.
Was it Ford?
His
Was
wife
Ford
pushed
the
him
one
into
that
it.
said when he left? Was he the one that said beware of the
No, that's Eisenhower.
military? Okay, sorry.
But
Okay.
Ford was a politician. He was not, yeah, word on the street is he was not like happy to do that. That was not, he wasn't a climber.
hmm.
But anyway, he did.
So this is just a outside topic or situation. So I was actually at work when the debate came on. And then I was like, oh, I think I'll watch a little bit of this because I'm not doing anything at the moment. So I was watching it, and somebody that I was like standing next to was like had made a comment like, "Oh, you're gonna watch that?" And I said, "Yeah, I want to see Biden and his dementia and how he handles this." And they were like, "Well, if Biden has dementia, Trump has dementia."
Oh,
What?
that's their logic.
Have you seen like have you but I've heard that from more than one person, like, "Oh, well, Trump has dementia too." Has
Yeah.
anyone else heard that?
Yeah. I
No.
was
Yeah.
ranting
Well,
about it
Nancy
earlier.
Pelosi said that.
What?
You know, and that is
It's
the thing that alarms me the most is like I'm at work. I was listening to the debates on my headphones, but I was talking to people that are like, are you going to watch this? And like the amount of people that are disinterested it's depressing. It's like this is like fate of the world stuff. Now, do I think we're going to go into World War III? I do think it's probably unlikely. Just because these people don't accumulate shit only to destroy everything and not have their shit anymore. Um, but I do think that we could be thrown into a great deal of disarray and be controlled even more because of that disarray. Those things could happen. Things could just get worse for us. But it's alarming how many people are just not interested in politics. And I want to ask them, why are you disinterested? Well, because they're both assholes. Well, which one's less of an asshole? Why don't you figure that out by watching the debates? It's just saddening.
I mean, to me, and I'm going to say this, and I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone, but if anyone legit says like, man, I don't see a difference between Biden and Trump, my assumption is they're a retard. Just a throwback to our last episode. My assumption is that they are unintelligent. That's my assumption. Because I don't understand how someone could possibly hold that position. I mean, it would be like me having an opinion on like who's favored at Wimbledon. Like I don't follow tennis at all. Like if I were to be like, man, so and so and so and so, they're pretty much the same. I mean, anyone could win with. That's the way I look at these people. I mean, to say something like that
Yeah, well, see,
is so horribly wrong. Like by any stretch of the imagination, I just don't understand it. And I don't. And they're
here's
so
my
eager to give the opinion too, which is always cracking me up. I'm an idiot. Let me tell you something. These two guys are exactly the same. I just don't get it. I don't understand how someone can hold that
No,
position.
they're clearly different. And the one thing that I'll say for Trump is that when I hear somebody say some nonsense about him, like he's a warmonger, it's like, no, he didn't have a single war during his
The
administration.
opposite.
Not only here, but anywhere.
Right. That's what I'm
There
saying.
were no terrorist attacks while Trump was in office
And
anywhere in
and
the world.
that's what I try to bring. I'm like, listen, man, I don't like the guy. I've made it abundantly clear. I don't like the guy, but I may be voting for him because those things are facts. And now I can only defend him on a few things in my scope of reason, but I can defend him. I can't think of a goddamn thing I can say to defend Biden. And even worse, if he does die, the concept of Kamala, that giggling buffoon being the president of the
But
United States is in some ways even more frightening.
but I'm telling you, no, I'm telling you, if Kamala was president right now, I would sleep better at night. Like, and I think she should be. And again, I'm no special pleader for
At
her.
least she doesn't have dementia.
That's what I'm saying. Why
Right.
isn't she president right now?
She is, but just not really.
No,
No, she's not actually pulling
That's
any
she's
I
strings.
actually, I actually lean into the Obama's sitting in his basement
Oh,
speaking into a.
right.
I'm
That would be
really,
more likely than Kamala
I think
or Jill.
Or
I'm
Jill.
not real far off on that one. Jill Biden. Now, Jill Biden is a bright woman. I've
Mm,
I don't necessarily hate her. I think she's in what she's in. She I've been impressed by her a few times. Not every time. But she can talk. She does what she's supposed to do. She defends her husband. She's
she's
doing what
guilty
she's
of
supposed
elder abuse.
to.
Yeah,
She is,
she
man.
could
I
have
mean,
pulled him out of this.
who in their right mind would subject their spouse to this? I mean, I'm
and
just
people
being
would be
real.
like,
By the way,
you need
did
to
you guys
not.
see something? And I want to know if this is true that she was the babysitter.
Yeah. So now she's
Is
the
that
babysitter
true, or is
again.
that some?
No, that's
I
true because no, because Joe Biden wasn't he like married, had a girlfriend, whatever before,
And she died, right?
and
Car
in a
crash.
car
their
crash.
daughter died,
Correct.
Yeah.
And the
and
boys were in
so
the
yeah.
accident too. I know
I
Hunter
just I just
was.
don't want to quote that and then find out that it's all.
Well, she's the babysitter again, as someone said. She's
Again,
reverted.
I just want to disclaim that I don't know if that's true. It's just something I saw on the internet. But that is a little alarming with the hair sniffing and all that. That becomes a bit troublesome.
And we lost Tom.
Oh my God,
So
where's Tom?
back to the conversation I was having with that person.
Yes,
so then
yes,
so
yes.
then I kind of I'm not trying to get into a fight about politics, especially with people that have
At
no idea
work.
what the fuck they're talking about and at work.
Right.
So I usually just try to avert the situation. So what I had said
idea.
was, and I'm trying to figure out, I just want to see how many times Joe Biden's going to say convicted felon because I need to count him. That's a pretty whatever.
Yeah.
So then the reply to that was, or count how many times Donald Trump says something racist, and I'm like, Donald Trump is not racist, so whatever.
Yeah.
And then it ended at that. But I do want to point out this. Do you remember a long time ago when all this started, like went back the first time he ran for president, that comment, that famous comment, they're
Good people and
bringing
bad
their
people on both sides.
rapists, they're bringing their murder or their rapists, they're
They're not
bringing
bringing
their
their best
murderers or
people.
whatever they said.
They're not bringing their
recent-
best people.
Yes,
Okay.
they're not bringing their best. They're not bringing their best people. They are murderers. Is actually he didn't say they are. He said they are. What the closed captioning did was change the there to the they are instead of there as in possessive there.
They are doing it. Yeah.
Like no, as in they are rapists. They are murderers instead of saying there as in Mexico's rapists and murderers. But anyway, those
That's
are But now we know that Venezuela, Africa, like mainly the Congo, some places in Mexico are releasing
Why
prisoners
wouldn't you? It's a smart move if you're one of the people in these countries.
that are dangerous because they don't
Yeah.
want them there. So
They
they're
don't want
sending.
them
They
there.
are sending them here. And look how many people just before the freaking debates, like a couple days before, there was another person murdered or a couple of people murdered by an illegal immigrant, and that's been happening so much.
Three women
Being
just
routine now.
in like the last 2 weeks before the debate. I mean, how about? And I was like on the edge of my couch because when he started down this track about Charlottesville and Biden, 3 days after Snopes, which sucks, a fact-checking organization, and I hate fact-checking organization, but any of them, but 3 days after they come out and say that there's very fine people on both sides, 7 years later, that it wasn't true, the president of the United States on national TV in front of the entire world repeated the exact same lie again. I mean, did you guys catch that?
Yeah,
He said this guy,
yeah.
there's Nazis coming out of the forest with torches and all this stuff. And he's like, and he said that there were fine people, but he called Nazis fine people, and like this has been debunked 585 million times.
Yeah, didn't Trump say
You
that?
just have to
I
listen
didn't say
to,
that, or the time
but
when,
he still brought it up. I mean,
or
it's
the
just
one where he was
yeah.
saying that he was at some
Oh,
military thing,
over
some
in
military.
Oh,
France
the World War
at
II.
Okay.
Normandy,
And so
yeah,
he was sitting there and like he had said to apparently Donald Trump said to like a general like losers and suckers or whatever. I'm talking about
suckers
the
and
I guess
losers.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm assuming
General.
talking about one of the dead soldiers.
Yeah, there was
Mhm.
one of the generals. There's one general that said he said that. I can't
Yeah,
remember his name right now.
well, originally it was anonymous sources only from
Oh,
the
okay.
Atlantic magazine. It was just anonymous sources say.
Kelly, John
And
Kelly.
then that one guy, but everybody else that was around, like, no,
No,
he didn't
everyone else
say
said he
that.
didn't say that.
Does it make sense that he would? I mean, it doesn't
No.
even make sense.
But Biden is on tape, and I think I put it on Facebook one time. He's on tape saying that he was talking to the military, I think they were active military, but he said he called them stupid bastards.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
yeah,
on
that was
video.
way back. That was a couple of years ago,
But
wasn't it?
yeah, but he
Yeah.
said it.
But I think I'm not
But here's the
defending
thing
him. I think
about
it was
the
at a certain group of people that was yelling at him, wasn't it?
no, he was mad that they didn't laugh at his jokes.
Wow. Okay.
Hmm.
So the thing I always thought this about the fine people on both sides, I would turn that into a positive because I always like there aren't very many people that can see the good in everybody, like Mother Teresa, Jesus
Right.
Christ, and
Donald
Donald
Trump.
Trump.
Right.
Those are the
Yeah,
only
but
three
even
people
Mother
I know that can
Teresa,
see the good in everybody. And if they're going to keep saying that he said this, find people on both sides. Okay, you're
Hmm.
putting him in the category with Jesus and Mother Teresa.
Right.
So stop doing it.
I don't
Yeah.
know if we want to use Mother Teresa as our barometer
Oh,
Yeah.
no,
for
you guys
enlightenment
have your
there.
own
She has
conspiracy
some
about Mother
Well,
questionable.
Teresa.
no, it's not even conspiracy. She was with Papa Doc, right? Mike?
We're in the Dominican?
Yeah, yeah. She met with Papa Doc. She met with a
No.
few heinous people. Um
But she was probably doing like humanitarian stuff.
and like Gandhi. Everybody talks about Gandhi. Gandhi was a racist.
Yeah,
Mm,
Yeah,
was it?
I've
definitely.
heard that.
He made very racist statements. I can't quote them, but I do remember reading it, and there was no arguments to any of
I'm
it.
going to say Mother Teresa's a fine person.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. I'm not going
Yeah.
to come down on Mother Teresa
Papa
just yet.
Doc was a pretty bad dude, man.
I know, but
Like
you go to
worse
places
than
like
corn
that to
pop.
do humanitarian. You got to go into Gaza, for God's sake, to do humanitarian aid right now.
Yeah.
I guess. I
There's
guess.
horrible people there. So I'm not going to chastise her for that.
Okay.
Well, I think that it was really interesting from the debates to hear the whole, I guess, theory behind why, now Gaza has happened, all these wars, why a lot of things haven't happened is because I guess Trump had said to everyone in the world, like, hey, I don't be doing business with Iran because,
Oh
or was
yeah.
it Iran or Iraq? Iran.
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 Because if you do, then you can't do business with America. So
Yeah.
sucks to suck. And so like no one did business with them. And so they went broke and they didn't have money
They
to
didn't have
do
money
to
They had
to
a
fund
lot
buy.
of money,
anything.
like frozen. The bank accounts were frozen, stuff like that.
I just I don't understand why the party is so intent on keeping Iran viable. And
Because they're anti-American.
yeah, I guess that's what it is.
Now, Des, just curious, did you listen to any of the RFK stuff?
No, because I don't care.
All right.
No, but honestly, I didn't. I saw you sent that, but I've really over the last couple of days been more interested in Hurricane Beryl. But
Yeah.
anyway, so
But it's
but
not coming.
I
You guys
did.
don't get hurricanes in Kansas.
No, but I'll tell you why
Not
in
yet.
just a second.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we get like, we get a lot of rain when hurricanes be hitting Texas.
Okay.
So the last weekend I was talking about how Donald Trump or Dr. Phil did an interview with Donald Trump. Dr. Phil actually, so he said on that interview that he sent invitations for the same kind of interview, which to RFK Jr. and to Biden. And he just yesterday released his interview with RFK. So I was gonna watch that, but they're like 2.5 hours long.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna watch that. Yeah.
Where's these available?
So they're on YouTube. I guess Dr. Phil's podcast is
Okay.
called Fill in the Blanks.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Fill in the blanks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So funny, Dr.
Nice.
Phil.
Ba-dum.
Fill in the blanks. Or
Yeah.
fill in the blank or something like that.
I used to hate
but yeah,
him.
they're
Now
on
I kind of
YouTube.
like him.
Yeah,
Dr.
I
Phil.
don't really mind Dr. Phil.
He seems kind of like a folksy, common sense sort of guy.
And he's
Yeah.
distanced himself from Oprah, which I think is good as well.
Donald Trump said that he lost Oprah.
Mm.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Hmm.
Who cares?
Yeah,
She's got
this is
she's getting
irrelevant.
shady.
Like, does anyone care what Oprah says about anything anymore? I don't. Maybe.
I really wish I would go to
Some
one of her
people do.
shows where she does Oprah's favorite things because I need some things. So Oprah likes good shit.
Does she still do that? Since
I
she
don't
doesn't
know,
have her
but
show?
Does she even have a show? Yeah.
I don't know. I think so.
I wonder
But
what it
yeah,
would be.
her favorite thing shows she'd just be giving everything, all of her favorite things she
Yeah.
gives away. I need you to have a favorite car, a favorite boat, a favorite jet ski, a favorite house. I don't know, but I need those things.
I was in Chicago back in the mid 90s, I think it was, and I'm like walking around this neighborhood nondescript, and they had the whole Oprah studio was there. I think it was huge, like half a city block or whatever. And her studio is or her production company is called Harpo. And I was like,
Yeah.
I saw the sign and I was like, oh, like I never like it's just
What were they
Oprah
doing?
backwards. Like I just never knew that.
Oh,
I was there in the mid '90s too. I'm surprised we didn't bump into each other.
Surprised we didn't bump into each other, man.
It's
It's
weird. We could have
crazy.
started this show a long time ago.
Man.
In Chi-Town. Yeah.
Yeah. Good pizza.
Mm. I
Yeah.
gotta, yeah, Jack's probably doing a spit take right now.
Yeah. We should mention. Well, no.
No, probably shouldn't.
Yeah, we'll leave that out. So
who do you guys? Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Who do you want to be Biden's replacement? Who do you think is the best Democrat?
Dude, I got a Biden sign in my yard
No.
right now. I want him to go all the way through, man. Like I
Yeah,
love
because you want
Biden.
Trump to win, but
Yeah. Okay, so who
who is the best Democrat? Is there a good
I
Democrat
thought
out
we
there?
already established that it's not even possible.
Well, it's
It's
a
a hypothetical.
slim, but
No,
it's
he just has to
unlikely.
release his delegates.
Yeah, if he
And
does
then
that,
they'll be
it will.
free to vote for whoever.
I have one question, Tom. Are we picking who, in our best, honest,
Yeah.
good faith judgment, would be the best pick, or are we saying who we would like, who would be fun to see?
No, because you would don't pick somebody that you think Trump would beat easily. That's
Yeah,
not what
pick
I'm
someone that if I was a Marxist, American Marxist, who I would want to replace Biden.
No,
Okay,
no,
what do
Who's
you
the
think?
best candidate on the Democrat
Somebody
side?
that
Isn't
you
there
would be
somebody-
fine if they won.
He knows what
Isn't
it
there
would-
somebody that was, I think that he ran, I honestly can't remember what party he was with. His name was like Andrew something, and he was like Asian.
Andrew Yang?
Jan.
Yes.
Jan?
Who was
Yep.
who was he? Is he a Democrat or a
Democrat.
He's a
Yeah,
Democrat.
yeah.
I would do him. Put Andrew Yang in there.
You would vote
Would
for
you
him?
vote for him as well?
No, we just ask who's the best
I don't-
Democrat.
I
I don't know
Of
if
course
any
I'm
of
not
us are going to
voting.
vote for
I
him.
can't vote for him because I'm registered
So,
Republican.
Andrew
I'd vote for
Yang,
fucking me.
he's definitely a big his big claim to fame was he was really pushing the universal income angle. He was saying that, everyone should get like $1,000 a month from the government or something along those
I
lines.
just
Yeah, I don't
thought
like
he
that.
spoke really well, and he had
Yeah.
he made his points very well, and he was very. There wasn't
would
a lot
agree.
of and
He was an economist,
about
right?
stuff that's like important. There was no bullshit. He wasn't talking about any dumb shit,
He's a tech
and I
bro.
just don't think that he would really be pushing the bullshit. He would
He's
be
a
like,
smart
okay, well,
guy.
here's the issue, so we need to deal with that shit first.
He's sort of like the Vivek Ramaswamy of the left. No,
Yeah.
and I mean, I think he has integrity, which is, again, it's so funny. It's like someone has integrity, they just go up like 100 points on my thing. So I'm with
Funny,
you there.
nobody's mentioned his name.
No,
It's
no one's mentioned
impossible.
his
I guess
name.
he's got too much integrity.
He's got too much integrity. So let's see who would be a good.
Not
And
Newsom.
Zeus, you said
Newsom's
someone.
horrible.
Newsom
Who?
is like from central casting of
Arnold
like the
like
devil.
Schwarzenegger. Put him in there.
politician.
Yeah, he's so
He's
smarmy and just slimy.
so. I mean,
Harris is a boob.
Is Tulsi still a Democrat or is she
Now
independent?
She's
but you could
independent.
pick her if you want. I mean,
She'd have to go back, yeah. Or
Um,
RFK could go back to the Dem. What
yeah,
about
let's
RFK?
go under the let's go under that umbrella that they started out as Democrats and they were pushed out. So I think
the
that's fair.
the best chance, and what you guys just said, I'm just restating it. It's your idea, but I agree. I think the best chance the Democrat Party has to win would be to bring, and I don't know if it's possible, but to bring RFK back into
Yeah.
I think it would
the
be amazing.
fray
Or
because
Tulsi.
Tulsi is not going to run against Trump. I don't think so. I
She
think
might
she's in line to
there's
be a vice
she's supposedly
president for
on the
him.
short list for
Yeah.
VP.
But I think
Oh, really?
RFK, and I still think it would be advantage Trump, but I think RFK is probably their best chance of actually winning. I
I
can't
think if
because he's already
RFK was
got
in there,
momentum. He's got people behind him. He's got infrastructure. He's he and Trump in a debate. I would love to see that because he the way he is and the way Trump is are very different. Like Trump debates Biden very well because Biden's a doof. But I think Trump
Trump is a
debating
turd sandwich.
RFK, but I'm saying Trump debating RFK, I think that would be a little tough for Trump to
Because
swing.
Trump would try and throw insults and RFK would
And
just brush
he's
them off.
you can't insult RFK Jr. You
No.
just can't. I mean, what his dad died running for. I mean, seriously. I mean, it's just it. I would hate to see that. Like, I wouldn't. I like Trump. I would hate to see him go that that way.
Yeah.
But I don't think They're not gonna
I
do
would go
that. I mean,
RFK as well, as would be the best choice if he would accept that.
if he would accept it, and Kamala is not going into the darkness silently. Do you
I don't
I
think
think she
she's
has a
just?
choice.
I mean, she
I
is vice president.
Nobody likes her.
No one
no,
likes
I don't
her.
want her at all. Me, yeah, of course, RFK, but I gotta say, as much as I like him, Tulsi Gabbard hasn't said anything I thought was stupid, and RFK's had a few boners, you know. I really, man, that's it. It's kind of a tough call because first of all, as a first woman president, I think Tulsi Gabbard fits the bill. Ex-military, she's
Uh,
got poise, she's got integrity, she's definitely got integrity. I
Does
like her a lot, but probably RFK. Yeah.
but here's the thing, and this is telling. I can't think of another Democrat nationally known figure that I believe has any integrity. The ones that have integrity are the ones like Tulsi and RFK that got the hell out. Seriously, who are you gonna? I mean,
But they got out
can
because they
anyone
were
name
forced out. So
anybody?
let's not give them all that credit. They were forced out.
But what I'm saying
Now,
is, I don't know anyone in the party that I would be like no one from the state of Maryland. That I mean, that's my state.
I'm trying to
No one
think
I
of
can think
somebody.
of from
Probably a
Virginia.
governor somewhere.
But yeah, they're all Pritzker in Illinois, Whitmer in Michigan. Nope.
What
Hochul
about
in
Joe
New York.
Manchin? Or did he leave the Democrat Party as
Yeah,
well?
he's an independent now. He left
That's
the
good for
another
party.
these
good one
guys.
that left.
I mean they're not going to let an independent. I mean they kicked Bernie was the closest. Bernie was doing better than RFK Jr. At the
Oh,
He was
time.
an independent.
He was an independent before the race,
Yeah.
but he was running. He was caucusing with the Democrats. I can't. I think. Look, the Democrat Party, the name will live on, but it's dead, man. They have to. They need like a ground up rebirth. I mean, they're toast. I mean, they're horrible. They played themselves. I can't think of
all
anybody.
this destruction happened in what,
Like
maybe the
10
last
years.
10 years. Yeah. That's the shocking thing about it. Um, yeah, it's just horrible. I mean, I'm not going to claim myself as Republican, but I certainly am aligning myself with more of their politics lately, which
Like I
again,
said, if there's one thing, and Zeus, and you're my buddy, and you I would love you to think about abandoning the Democrat Republican and just looking at establishment and
Right. I
regular
that's
citizens.
where I'm at. I just,
Yeah,
it's kind of like,
because
I've
I
always
hate the
been this, so I've
Republican
always got to
Party.
be this kind of thing.
I hate the Republican Party. The Republican Party is they're morons. I like people within the Republican Party, unlike the Democrat Party. I'm talking about politicians, not individual citizens. But the Republican Party is a freaking train wreck. I mean, they really are. I mean, they just walk into walls. I mean, they're horrible
They
as far as
do.
a governing party.
I think there's an innocence to why they do that. They
I
they
agree.
they're
I
not as
have.
underhanded as the Democrats
They're
have been.
not. They're not
They play
evil.
fair,
Well,
and they just
what
get sandbagged,
who was it that used to
constantly.
say they would say about the Dem it was the evil party and the stupid party. It was like the Democrats were the evil party and
Or
Republicans
naive,
were
I
the
guess would
stupid.
be a term.
I can't think of anyone, man. I can't think of anyone that they could bring in that is
What
a
about who's the Hakeem Jeffries? Is that his name?
he's a train wreck, man. That guy.
You know, good.
Oh, yeah, you got to look into his stuff. We could do a whole episode on
Okay.
that guy.
I don't know a lot about him.
I know a little bit. I know enough. I mean, he was handpicked by Pelosi.
Okay, well, that's not good.
Um, the thing is, and this is a good point. Who asked this question? Was this you,
I did.
Tom? Yeah.
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 It's a great question because it is it is the part like this is what happens when you have a party put itself before the country because
Okay,
they
so here's a list of people that they're saying could take it. This is just I got it off BBC, so this is what they're saying.
okay.
Probably relatively good resource.
The British would know.
They're
Yeah.
saying, well, no, I'm just saying as a just a list to throw out there.
I
They say
got you.
Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer,
I don't like her at all.
If you want to wear a
yeah,
mask, yeah.
of course Gavin Newsom,
Disaster.
Can't stand
Pete Buttigieg,
No.
Buttigieg,
Buttigieg.
Buttigieg. No one can say his name, so no.
uh, Josh Shapiro.
I don't even
Don't
know
know
who
who
that
that
is.
is.
He's a Pennsylvania governor.
Okay.
Yeah, don't know enough
Illinois
about him.
Governor J.B. Pritzker.
No, he's a disaster. I mentioned him earlier.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear.
Don't know enough about him.
Yeah.
Maryland Governor Wes Moore.
No. Hell no.
Senators Amy Klobuchar
No, Klobuchar, no.
and Cory Booker.
Oh
No.
my God.
No, don't want
And
Cory Booker.
these are just other ones. Those first few that I said.
Mao Zedong, Joseph Stalin, and Pol Pot.
They
Round
don't
out
have
the
Harris on
list.
the
And
list.
then Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock.
No.
Oh,
God, they're a disaster, dude. That's
Well,
who they're
those
saying?
the last ones starting with Andy Bashir were other possible candidates. The other
they
one,
didn't mention
like
Kamala Harris.
they did mention Kamala
Oh,
Harris, but
okay.
that's a given, you know. I mean, we all know that if they do have if they thread the needle and they do what they want to, we know Newsom's going to be the candidate. I don't think they would go with anybody else.
But why Newsom? Like, just
I'm
because
not
everyone
I'm
keeps
not
talking
saying
about
that.
him.
I just think that he is the
He's from Central Casting. He
He
destroyed
looks good.
California.
that's what I'm saying. I'm not giving him validity. I'm simply saying that the Democratic Party is so fucking backwards that
Here,
that's the guy they would go with.
let's make our call. I am going to say right now, what is it? It's July 2nd. Joe Biden's going to be on the ballot November 5th, 2024, as
Yeah.
the Democrat nominee for president of the United States.
Yeah, unless he has a stroke.
He'll still be on the ballot. I don't think they're going to be able to switch him out in time.
I don't think he's gonna have a stroke.
With all
I
the
mean, he's
mounting
just gonna-
pressure, if he stays on there, there's no way they're going to win.
No one Zeus mentioned is better than Biden. I mean, I'm talking about from an election standpoint. If I'm someone looking at it from a numbers game, almost none of those people have name recognition. I mean, I know
Well,
who like
once they
I've heard
get
of
the
Greg
conservatives of them
nomination,
are.
whoever gets the nomination, then the whole media is going to get behind them,
They're
start
going to get
pushing
behind them.
them propagandizing that person
He-
and talking about how good they are.
Here's a question, and I want Zeus's response to this too, because I know how much he. Well, one, does Tulsi Gabbard, does she dye the gray, or is she all gray and she dyes everything
I
else
think
but
I
leaves
think
that,
it's the
or is that just
latter.
natural? Anyway,
I don't know,
but
but
my question
she
is,
works it.
Zeus, if Trump picked her as his vice president, would it just be game over at that point?
Absolutely. Or
I mean, and
RFK.
not for you and for, I mean, wouldn't that just be
Game over, yeah. I
Do
I
we know any contenders for his vice president or running mate yet?
Vivek Ramaswamy, Tim Scott,
I don't think
Byron
those are
Donalds?
official though. I mean,
Well, these are
it's
people,
all
you know what?
speculation.
If he took
Burgum from North
Vivek,
Carolina,
if he took Vivek, I'd
No,
be all in
Burgum's
as
from
well.
North Dakota, I think.
North Dakota. I'm sorry. Yes.
If Vivek was his vice president, I'd also be all in. I like Vivek.
I like him. I don't think he's ready though.
I don't think he's ready,
Right,
and
but he'd be vice president, so he
he's
has
I
also
know, but Trump's only got 4 more years, so
he's
whoever is
too
going to like
he's
have
too
the
much
inside
like
track.
Trump too. He's too much like him. I mean, I'm not saying he's like him personality wise, no, issue wise, whatever. I'm saying his the way he talks, it's too similar. I think Atossi is a very sober choice, and she has immense integrity.
that's
You
what
know,
I was. Yeah, and I'd love the option for her as president in
she's an
4 years.
outsider like Trump is. I think if he picked Tulsi Gabbard, it's like I just think that would be the end of the. I think it would be a slam dunk. I think he would get the independents. He would get some Democrats
He would get
enough.
all of RFK's 6% or
She
whatever it's
she
got.
doesn't she doesn't need it. She doesn't need him. She's very well spoken on her own. She's more well spoken than he is.
And like I said,
She has experience in Washington.
her as president in 4 years, I would
I
be
and
very,
if something happened to him, I would be totally cool with her as president.
yeah.
Let me ask you this, just to play devil's I mean, I love Tulsi, but uh, where is she at, like on abortion and on, the issues that the Republicans care about,
That's going to be the
that they
issue.
would want her to be vice president?
But the Republicans who have abortion as their like number one numero uno thing, where are they going to go? I mean, Donald Trump could have,
Yeah.
Jack Kevorkian as his vice president, and he's still going to get their vote. So it doesn't even matter. I mean, again, the people who are
I know, but
that
she would be the heir apparent.
she would be, well, that's the thing. Like whoever he picks,
You
it's
know,
they're the
though,
front runner in 28.
I don't know enough about her politics, but what I do know from the times that I've seen her
I
in
trust her.
interviews is she's very much kind of that party that we've been talking about for a while. She would be the pragmatist party. She
The
would be
the
looking at more individual situations and addressing them as they came rather than painting with broad strokes. And that's
Where's
what
she at on guns? That's another big one.
well, she's ex-military, so I'm sure she's probably
Oh, she's
okay with,
pro
or
2A
that's
for
where
Pro
she
sure.
would fit
2A.
into it.
I know that. I've heard her talk about it.
She's a mother, so I believe she's a mother, right?
Yeah, and well,
Yeah.
she's talked about how with the Second Amendment, as far as like protecting women, that it is an equalizer. I mean, what is a better equalizer than a handgun in any situation? I mean, if you have like a 120-pound woman with a 250-pound man trying to, you know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
Yeah.
the
I
perfect
think that's
example of being armed. I mean, it
All
takes
right.
that right out of the equation.
So maybe she might check a lot of the boxes. So
let me ask you this now. If she could get into the uh Democrat side and be the candidate, how do you think Trump stands against her?
I think she could give him a run for the money, but
yeah,
she's not going to run against them because
I'm just
they're
curious.
already.
Yeah, it was
No,
just
I
a
think she could give him a
hypothetical.
run, but the thing is, the media has already poo-pooed on her so much. There, 6 months is
Yeah,
enough time.
the
she's
media does.
maintained
Yeah,
a cool head. She hasn't said anything
No,
stupid.
but the
Like
media hates her.
I don't think the media has any integrity. They'll flip
Yeah,
flop. They'll flip back over to her and make her
if in a
sound like the
second.
greatest.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Trump took her as a vice president, though, I think that's game over.
Yeah,
100%.
I was thinking about it because I didn't even know he was entertaining it or that
Yeah,
was
I
even an
heard just the
option.
other day that she was on the short list.
That's awesome.
I don't see how they lose. I mean, I mean, that's such a strong ticket.
And you know what? As dislikable as he can be, she's super likable.
Yeah.
She busts balls. She says piss and shit every once in a while. You know what I mean? Like she's the real deal. I would love her as president.
She's a strong personality.
And not in a hostile uh
But
you
she's
know,
not going to take any. Yeah, anyway, whatever. I mean, who knows? I
that would be
think that
great.
would be interesting. I like it the fact that she's an outsider and he's an outsider. I think Vivek has a strong future. I don't know that this is his time. I think Burgum is going to be Pence part two.
I think
Um,
I think RFK could maybe have a chance at that vice presidential. Is he on the short list or no?
no,
No,
I think
I hadn't
that would
heard
be
anybody other than us
bananas.
mentioning him as a possible VP. I haven't heard
I
anybody
think th-
else.
I think that would slam the door shut too. I think because
Yeah.
he's got 10%. He's
Yeah,
got 10-15%.
And like I said,
That's
he had
huge. That's
he
huge.
he's got integrity. He and Tulsi are so neck and neck in how much I like them. I man, maybe probably Tulsi's a good choice, man. That's a great question,
So
Mike.
what are we talking about next week? Because it's about that time.
Well, you guys don't seem to want to listen to the Terrence Howard on Joe Rogan, but he just did another one
Oh God.
with
I saw that. I was like, he just did another
Eric
one.
I watched
Weinstein.
about 4 minutes of that and I was like, oh Jesus.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I don't know
God.
if I need to watch the whole thing.
yeah, I can't
Dude,
take it
you
either.
do. It's like a case study in pure insanity. But he went and did it with this guy Eric Weinstein. He's Brett Weinstein's brother, and he's like a physicist, like super mathematician. And this guy, I couldn't finish because Terrence Howard is hard to listen to. But this guy was as politely as he could, like Neil deGrasse Tyson level of tact and poise. He's like, yeah, what you're saying is horseshit. It was beautiful. Yeah,
So
Jason and I were listening to it the other day. It's pretty damn funny.
I do have one other question, and then if unless you guys have something, we can wrap it up. But any plans for the 248th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence coming
I
Blow
up on
shit
Thursday?
up.
Blow shit up. I'm hearing you.
Why
I will
not?
be slinging goofballs in the nut hut.
I actually also have to work, but I traded to
No,
work
no,
for a
no.
day shift. So
So you're off at night.
I'm gonna be off.
Mm.
My husband and his friends have spent way too much money on fireworks.
That's awesome. I got to get some.
Also drove to Missouri to get me some bottle rockets because they are legal in Kansas.
Oh, nice.
Love
Yeah.
a bottle rocket. Love a good bottle rocket. Love a good
Bottle
illegal
rockets are
piece,
the
illegal
best,
Roman
man.
firework.
candles, Roman candles and mortars.
Roman candles are also, when you Roman candle at a you can't get a big one, but you got like a little Folgers can, you put a little gasoline in there, lighter fluid, whatever you want to, and you set them in the yard, like you
Wow.
would be target practicing, and you just Roman candle up the buckets of fuel.
Oh, to see
When you
if one
hit one,
lands in there?
yep, when you hit one, it
Oh,
just goes,
man. Oh, man.
but it doesn't, it just for a second. It's like
Yeah.
when you spray
It
lighter
hits the
fluid on a
vapor.
fire, and it just
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, fire.
This
I
is
don't
where
have that
people
much
lose
space
fingers.
over here in my
Oh,
in my
well,
yard.
I guess that's all we got in Kansas is fucking
Yeah, you
space to
got
blow shit
space to
up.
do
So,
that.
just put them in the street. Fine.
Yeah, I'll set the neighbor's house on fire if I try to do
Yeah.
something like
Oh, yeah.
that.
Well,
So
I'm
that's what we're
looking
gonna do.
forward to it. And it's only 2 years away from 250. That's pretty amazing. I'm just saying, it is.
They Craig and his friends of his all his work friends have been also engineered a 30 shot, like when you put the artillery shells in the tube, and then
Mhm.
Mortars.
Oh
no,
wow.
they're artillery shells. The artillery.
Really?
Boys
Like
will be boys.
Yeah, no, like a mortar is like a Like the stick of dynamite, basically. The
Yeah, yeah,
artillery
yeah.
shells are like the ones that go in the air and blow up.
M80s are
Yeah.
basically a mortar shell.
No,
Yeah.
that's an yeah, it's a mortar, but I'm talking artillery. Those are the ones that are like the fireworks. Like
So,
anyway, they have
and
engineered like a 30 shot thing and have like put the fuse so you only have like one fuse and it just pops them off.
that's pretty
I
cool.
used to work with this guy. This was like 15 years
If
ago.
this is about a theater, I'm
No, no, no,
getting
no,
out.
no, no, no. He was an HVAC guy. He was an HVAC guy, and he used to cut. He would cut the tin. We call it tin. It's not tin. It's galvanized metal. But he would cut the ductwork. Like so, we were like building new houses, so he would like cut the ductwork for the air conditioner, the return, and the supplies and all that stuff. And on one of his hands, he had a pinky and a thumb.
That's
And
it.
that was it. The other ones were gone and into a little bit of his palm. And we used to think that because he used this like metal cutter machine, and so we thought he just got his hand cut in there. And he told us later when he was younger, when he was a teenager, someone bet him that he couldn't hold on
Oh,
Oh no.
to an M80
he couldn't.
Jesus.
Well, he
Wow.
can't
and
now.
took three of his
You
fingers
can
off.
only do it once.
But he was doing like involved machinery work with just on one hand he was
Hmm.
like a lobster or whatever.
Lobs, yeah. Oh, lobs.
I guess as
I
long
had
as
a
you have the opposable thumb,
I
Yeah, at
had
least, yeah,
a
exactly. He had the
get some
pinky and the
stuff
thumb.
done.
you
He had
can
the
hang on to
pinky and the
things.
thumb.
So,
Why one of my high school teachers blew his pinky off with an
Oh,
M80 or something like
I
that.
thought you were going somewhere else for a second. I'm glad to
No,
know it was the pinky. All right.
no. So he was like he was a this.
Okay.
so
Has
did
anybody ever
did any
blown
of
that
you
off?
guys,
I know.
Mike, did you or Tom? I know Desiree did, and I don't even have to ask. Did either of you guys watch the last Josh Perry? It could be worse. That
With
I was,
you, yes, I did. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was very good.
yeah, it was pretty good. Just thought I'd mention that so we can get people listening to
How
that
do
as
you know
well.
I did?
Huh?
How do you know I did?
Did you?
Well, yeah,
There
but
you go.
Oh, no,
Um,
I did. I did. I
I
didn't
just
know
know you
Desiree
didn't,
did.
Des. I just know it's not a
oh,
critique. It's not a critique.
I was like,
I
are you
adore
swearing on
you.
me?
That's fine. I just know you didn't.
No, I did.
You
She
did?
did.
Yeah.
Well, what was your favorite part?
The fact that you was wearing the same t-shirt.
And I think it was good. You
No.
guys kind of got into it a little bit, which was
Yeah, we
good.
did. We did. I that was why I thought it was kind of a fun episode. And there's a lot of Tulsi and RFK talk on that one too.
I
But
think, look, this if Josh is listening, I think that's good for Josh once in a while. I love his. Josh is one of the few YouTube channels I check in with all the time, and I love his solo stuff. But I think it's strong for him to have other people on like his little conversation series because it's a different dynamic when he's conversing with someone in real time, and you see him get a little bit like we do on here, like when you want to say something and stuff like that, as opposed to when he just has the floor for the whole episode. I think it's good for him to have
well,
people
he,
on.
he loves our show. I think that's why he held back a little, but yeah, it was fun. I feel like I manhandled him a little bit.
Well, he also made a comment that I'm the only one that hasn't been on the show. So Josh, just pick a
Yeah,
date and a time and
give a
we'll
call.
talk about something.
I didn't, Tom, you've been on there?
Sort of. He
Oh,
stole our feed and just
oh, that's
posted
right.
it. So I
That's
was on.
Wait, what
I
was
didn't
that?
that's
know I
I
was
didn't
right.
going to
hear
be
that.
on there, but
The
I ended up
Swapcast.
on his show.
I turned it into a Swapcast. He posted the
Yeah,
first half, and then I posted the whole
that's what he
show.
did with the one I was on.
Yeah.
Oh, last little note. I'm going to Florida
Sorry.
January 29th through the 2nd. So I'm gonna go
January?
down to
It's a
Matt.
weird
February
time. Why?
29th.
Your
January?
family's gonna be back in town
What's
then.
no, they're coming back August 22nd.
Yeah, I
So
know. I thought you were gonna go while they're out of town.
yeah, I am. I'm
Okay.
going January. I mean, not January. I mean, July 29th. I'm sorry, July
Oh,
29th.
I was about to say January isn't a
Oh, okay.
while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, July 29th through August 2nd. So I'm gonna go down to Macalino's and we'll do the show from his house.
Ah,
Nice.
And he's got something that he's got some acting thing that he's gonna do, and he said he's gonna try and get me in so I can get a credit.
there you go.
So
Sweet, man.
yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be
So
fun.
let me go back to the thing I said earlier about Beryl. This is why I was so into it. This is just not even important, but this is just like ironic. So, Craig and I last week started talking about maybe planning something to Cancun or maybe like, Cozumel, one of those areas.
Yep.
Right.
Guess who's about to get fucking hit by a hurricane?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Cancun.
Beryl.
Cancun and Cozumel.
Yeah.
I can't go anywhere without the shit getting hit by a hurricane.
There's this great Douglas Adams. Do you know who he is?
No.
He did Hitchhiker's Guide
to the Galaxy.
Okay,
So he wrote this book called Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency.
Oh yeah, man.
And there's a guy in the very beginning of it, and everywhere he goes, it's raining, and like he's like borderline suicidal. And by the joke is you end up finding out that he's Thor, and he didn't know he was, and that the rain's just following him around. I'm starting to think he might be a thunder god. Des.
A vacation's been absolutely ruined to Sanibel Island. Then in the Bahamas, it was not quite a hurricane hit it, but the remnants of Tammy were occurring, and I couldn't even get in the water.
Remnants of Tammy.
The remnants of Hurricane Tammy.
Tammy's such an awful hurricane name.
And then now,
right?
Probably aren't going to go to fucking Cabo, or not Cabo, but Cozumel because of fucking hurricanes. But honestly, the other thing I did hear about them is apparently they get hit by hurricanes all the fucking time. So as long as it's not like a Category 5 hitting, they should
be used to it. Yeah.
Tammy is like the name of the person that lives in the trailer park that the tornado hits.
Well, yeah. If my house was destroyed by Hurricane Tammy, I'd be like,
that tracks.
Hurricane Thor or Hurricane Michael or something.
Be like Hurricane Walmart.
Hurricane Zeus. All right.
Yeah, how come they don't got a Hurricane Zeus?
I think
you got to get all the way to the Z.
Well, they actually don't have X, Y, or Z names in the hurricane list. So that's why. But you could be a Pacific storm.
That's racist.
Or a non-specific.
Or no, a Pacific. A
Pacific, Michael.
So I went into a general store a couple weeks ago when we were camping, and I had heard this joke from, I can't remember the comedian, I'm sorry. And I went in and I was like, yeah, I was gonna get something in here, but I was looking for something more specific. And she was like, I don't know if it was Mitch Hedberg. It was someone like that. It was like, yeah, I went into the general store, but I didn't get anything. So
I get
something specific.
It took me a while to figure
wait a
out.
second. Yeah.
It's about that time.
Yeah, we're not getting jokes anymore.
I think it's about time.
Podcast.
We wrap things.
Give the best life advice ever and wrap it up.
What exactly would have to happen to invoke the 25th Amendment in this country?
Obviously, in an ideal world, you would try to invoke the 25th Amendment, which I think is amply justified.
The man is deeply mentally unstable. The cabinet should convene immediately to discuss the 25th Amendment.
If he's crazy and incompetent and stupid, then we have to look at the 25th Amendment.
People in the president's inner circle have brought up the 25th Amendment at least 20 times.
This is 25th Amendment kind of stuff.
The whisper campaign over the 25th Amendment.
We're going to talk about the 25th Amendment.
Let's talk about the 25th Amendment.
Look at the 25th Amendment.
There is the 25th Amendment.
Consider the 25th Amendment.
Maybe we should consider the 25th Amendment.
The 25th Amendment.
How likely is it that the 25th Amendment,
25th Amendment, 25th Amendment,
25th Amendment,
25th Amendment
could be invoked?
The 25th Amendment, 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 25th Amendment. I did my first 25th Amendment segment on this show about, 30 days into this presidency. 25th Amendment, 25th Amendment, 25th Amendment, 25th Amendment. The 25th Amendment used the 25th Amendment.